I told Steve McKinney as he walked into the studio, we're going to actually get stuff done on this program today because there's no nonsense. It is just two professionals. President Steve McKinney with us. Hello, sir.
Very professional here. I keep my commitments, You
do?
I say, I'm going to do this show on Fridays with you guys, and here I am showing up. Some people are out playing golf. Some people are, traveling, probably sleeping.
Probably,
in Knoxville. But
now
here we are working.
We are going to work, and we're going to break down the team. So it's always interesting because a loss casts a huge shadow, right? So you lose to Bama, and as much as I want to be thinking about Tennessee, as I think about Tennessee, I've got this Bama vision in my head about the things that just seem to go wrong for this team all the time.
Still can't let it go.
I can't.
I know. I understand. As a fan, I get it, because I get the same way sometimes. I know. But here's what you got to remember as a player. It's 24 hours. It's
You're done.
Done. Like, you're not even thinking about Bama at this point. You weren't even thinking about them Monday.
But can you hold on to some of the anger that you should have?
What happens when you lose a game like that you should have won, that you had multiple opportunities to win, and just didn't make the plays. Now, credit Bama, they made those plays. Mm-hmm. They made plays when they needed to win the game. We had some bad breaks. We had some things that we caused mistakes. We had some things that are just, referees getting in the way, toes tapping at the 2-yard line, just little things, holding calls. It was one of those games that was frustrating, and as you look back on it, it's good that it was frustrating, because when have we ever gone into a game against Alabama and lost that closely and we're upset because we felt like we got upset?
Yep.
Never. It's never happened. So, I think we need to just kind of step back, take stock in where the program is. I know everybody's frustrated, and I get it. However, we have built a roster and a program that can go compete with the very best in the country week after week. Now, we got to win. We got to start winning those games. Mm-hmm. And this Saturday is a perfect opportunity to take a step in the right direction and put that game behind us.
Well, I want to bring up the offense for a moment, because here's what frustrates me. This is supposed to be a down Bama team. Didn't look like a down Bama, okay?
They didn't look real down.
Right?
No.
And I know they were up at the half, whatever. It's a 4-quarter game. It's supposed to be a down Bama team. Offensively, we were supposed to be clicking. We're supposed to be this offensive team now, right? Since SEC play has started, they have not been an offensive team. In fact, with Zach Calzada, you score 41 points. And Zach had his issues. Last year with Haynes, I think the offense looked better than it did last week against Bama. Again, I know it was a really good first half, and they shot themselves in the foot, but I'm sick of saying that, man.
Yeah. And we talked about it last week. We all have our doubts with this offense right now, simply because they haven't put together 4 quarters. And they just haven't. Maybe against, some of the real lesser competition, but against Power 5 teams, and especially in the SEC, we haven't done it but for 2 quarters at a time. And you're just not going to win consistently in this league, especially against teams as talented as Alabama, if you can't show up in the fourth quarter. You don't win games in the first half against good teams. You win them in the second half. And we didn't come out with the same intensity in the second half. You could see it. You could see it on the field. Bama came out. They're like, we didn't play our best in the first half. We're going to kick their butt in the second half, and that's what they did.
So when it comes to the offensive line, and look, I have my concerns about the offense because the bottom line is the points you score. And I don't care how they come. If defense helps, especially the points you score matter, in these games. When it comes to the offensive line, this is how I saw it. But you study lines, lines. I saw the line struggle, get tired at the end of the game. I also saw a quarterback who put the line in bad spots by holding on to the ball too long. So give me your assessment of the way they played.
All right. First of all, did the offensive line break down at times? Sure. Absolutely. But they were also going against one of the best defensive lines in the country. People act like we were playing, a nobody, that we should just block them and give Max 3-4 seconds every pass play, especially dropbacks. They weren't even, half of them weren't even play actions, just drop back passes. Very few offensive lines are going to hold up against that defensive front for more than 2.5 seconds. You should have been dialing up plays, especially early on in the third and early fourth quarter, where they're getting the ball out of your hands quick.
Yep.
I didn't understand why we kept going back to run plays. We ran the ball almost every first down in the second half for 2 yards, 2 to 3 yards. Mm-hmm. Why? Mix it up. Throw the ball on first down. Give your offensive line a chance instead of only throwing the ball on 2nd and long, 3rd and long, where the defensive line can tee off more. So I didn't necessarily love how the game was called in the second half, because I think you put your offensive line and your quarterback in tough spots by doing that. And some of it was not offensive line. Some of it was running backs missing blocks, causing pressure. The interception, that's on the running back. He didn't get on his guy. He pressured him. Max has to throw off his back foot, puts it 6 inches too far to the left, and it gets picked off. Great play by Alabama, but that's a running back. In the end of the game where you get the sack, safety, you got guys tripping over each other. Right. That happens. It's rare, but it does happen. It just happened to happen at like the worst possible time in the worst possible scenario. But at the same time, I look at that and go, okay, yeah, hey, quarterback, help us out here. We screwed up. Don't just sit there and take the sack. Get rid of the ball. Throw it away. Do something. Don't just stand there. It seemed like he wasn't necessarily feeling the pressure. Like he was so dialed in downfield,
yes,
watching the plays develop, that he just didn't have a good sense or feel of the pressure to know, got to get rid of it, got to throw it away, got to do something, dump it off. So you see quarterbacks do that all the time. Some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, those guys don't take sacks. They're under pressure constantly. They know exactly where their dump off is. They got this clock in their brain that tells them exactly when to get rid of it or throw it away. Play the next play. Don't take a sack. So, those are things we got to work out and get better at. But, you can't put everything on the offensive line. Yes, they need to play better. Max needs to do better getting rid of the ball, seeing plays develop quicker, processing quicker, and getting rid of the ball quicker. And running backs, they got to step up. The running backs need to freaking block their men, because go back and look at some of our games and the pressures that we've had on the quarterback. I guarantee you the running backs are the cause of half of them. It's not just the offensive line. So, everybody's got to get better up front protecting the quarterback.
Are you a bit surprised that this offense isn't more creative? Like, it doesn't
Yes.
feel like last year, but it does at times, right?
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that, David. It is a little bit shocking. You got so much freaking offensive brain power on that staff between Jimbo and what's his name, Chan Gailey,
Jim Chaney.
Jim Chaney, yeah. Why did I say Chan Gailey?
The old Cowboys coach.
And then Petrino. Those are some serious offensive minds. And you're right. There's just no creativity. I did like the touchdown play to Jake Johnson.
Yep.
That's the kind of stuff I would expect from that room a lot. Like, not just once a game. I would expect that once a series. You're just not seeing it. I don't think they're using motion enough.
No.
And again, I go back to the running the ball on first down. I think it was like 8 out of 10 first downs in the second half. And it's just kind of like, I'm sitting up there kind of scratching my head going, dude, we got to mix it up. We can't just run the ball every first down for 2 yards. That front, you're not going to beat Bama running the ball against them. Everybody knows that. I don't care if it's a down year, whatever you want to call it. That front seven's still one of the best in the country.
But, and we talked to Billy about this, the roller coaster, the pendulum, whatever you want to call it. 1 or 2 plays changes the entire way we look at the season, man.
I know.
It's like, if they win this weekend, all right, we got a couple losses we're not proud of, but now we think we can go on the road and beat these teams. Mm-hmm. But until they do it, there has to be doubt.
How could you sit here and be comfortable of them going into Knoxville in front of 100,000 people against a good football team and coming out of there with a win? What have they done in the last 6 years to prove to you that they're capable of doing that?
Have you heard the stat?
I know they haven't beaten a ranked team on the road since Jimbo's been here. I do know that stat.
2014.
2014, that's the last time they beat a ranked
team on the road.
That's
ridiculous.
You're not going to win much in the West if you can't win, because you're going to play ranked teams on the road. Mm-hmm. There's too many ranked teams in the SEC. If you can't win against good teams on the road, you're not going to win anything meaningful.
This is what A&M does have going for them, though, in this game. I don't think Tennessee's played anybody. Maybe that doesn't matter. So I was on a Tennessee radio show yesterday, and they asked me, and I was like, look, guys, not to be rude about Tennessee. It's not about Tennessee. It's about A&M. If A&M does what they're supposed to do, they win this game. They just don't do what they're supposed to do often enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's fair. When we're clicking, we're unstoppable. We have a roster that's as good or better than anybody in the SEC. It's as good as Alabama's. It's as good as Georgia's. Probably better than LSU's, minus the quarterback position, because I think Daniels is pretty good. But we should be able to go into Tennessee and beat them if we play like we're capable of playing. Now, here's what I don't know. Only thing I can tell you is that as a former player, after a game like that, you're very frustrated because you felt like you let one get away, and I know they felt that way. And you set your jaw, you come out Monday and you practice your butt off, and you have a great week of practice, and you go with the mindset that we're going to Knoxville and we're gonna make up for that and then some by playing like we're capable of playing. I have no idea what the mood was like at practice this week. I just can tell you how I would feel after a game like that and what I would expect the team to react and go out, because you're gonna play like you practice. It's a fact. So if they had a great week of practice, if they were able to have that mindset of, we know we screwed that one up, we're not doing that again, then I think you might see a different team. I just hope if they come out fast, kind of like they did against Miami, do we have the maturity, do we have the willpower in that locker room to maintain that for 4 quarters?
So let's go to preseason Steve right now. What your mindset would have been had I told you without seeing the games, all right, they go through the first 6 games of the season, all right, or that would be 7 games, right? They're 4-2, so 7 games of the season, and they are 5-2. And yes, you went to Tennessee, you went to Miami, and you played Bama. Would you have said, all right, about what I thought?
Yeah, no, for sure. I would have been like, that's good. Those are some good football teams in there, and I could see slipping up against a couple of them pretty easily. So, yeah, I mean, if you're 5-2 at this point, I don't think anybody's very disappointed with the way things are going so far. Now, if you're 4-3, the difference between 4-3 and 5-2 at this point makes a big difference. It really changes the whole mentality and feel of the season.
Because they can win out, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody ahead of you is necessarily that good, but you don't have the confidence that they're going to win out if you've lost these. That's the thing.
Yeah, and it's like this every year, though. It seems like with A&M, because you get such highs and such lows. I mean, you think back to the year where we did beat Bama. We lost 2 in a row going into that game, and thinking like, I mean, this season's just complete trash. We're not, we're going to be 5-7, 6-6 is our ceiling. I remember that was the mindset, because there was no way we thought we could beat Bama,
right?
And yet we did, and
it changed everything. Even though it still ended on a thud, there was hope entering the last couple of weeks of the season.
It was, because it showed what you're capable of. And, we've lived with that as Aggie fans for years and years, right? Looking at the potential of what the team is capable of doing and just kind of holding on to that hope that one day they'll put it together for a whole season. And it hadn't happened yet, but man, that's what makes college football fun. You just have to hope.
I just want it to be more fun for us every once in a while. Like more than just once every 10 years. Like, that'd be great.
That would be great.
That would be real nice.
One of these days, Dave. We got to keep hoping, though, man.
Well, look, and I'll tell you where some of my hope comes from. That D-line.
Yeah.
I mean, not only can they get after the quarterback, teams are not running on them, and against this team, that's what they're going to have to do. They rush for 230 yards a game.
Yeah.
We found out earlier today, Chris Lowe told us that Josh Heupel is undefeated when his team rushes for 140 yards or more. Can they keep him under that number?
Yeah, 140 is a tough one, especially if your average is 230. If anybody could do it, I believe this front seven could, because they are playing pretty dang good football right now, especially up front. And that, you're right, that does give you a chance in every game, because you're not going to get blown out when you have that kind of front seven, getting after the quarterback, stopping the run, tackles for loss. Now, obviously, we got to do a little better on the back end. We can't be giving up big plays, and we talked about that Friday. Remember, we said, I said, we can handle one deep ball for a touchdown. We can't handle multiple and come out of this with a win, and we gave up multiple.
You gave up multiple, but again, though,
can't do it, man.
Excuse me for going back to last Saturday for a moment, but you kick the field goal, you don't get your field goal block, you win that game.
I know. And that's what's frustrating, and that's why everybody's saying we should have won, and that's why you left that game disappointed and looking for people to blame. Let's blame the coach, blame the offensive line, blame Max, blame the secondary, because we were just a couple of decisions away, a couple of plays away from that being a totally different game Saturday.
Yeah. Secondary, I don't know how I want to phrase this, but just your assessment of what you've seen, because the Miami game was, the secondary was out of place. The tackling was bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't a tackling issue this weekend. It was they were picking on DeBerry. They were.
Yeah, I mean, they saw him as a liability. They knew they had a good matchup against him. They exploited it. It's what good coaches do. I mean, I assume we were trying to do the same thing. We probably just didn't have as many favorable matchups. So they got to figure that out though, because they just put a blueprint out there that every offense that can throw the ball can follow. So I mean, they either need to get him some help over the top, or put somebody else in there, or play a little softer coverage with them. But I do know they can't go out there and just roll the same secondary look out there as they did last week, because that's not good. That was no good.
Does it make you feel, by the way, if you got any questions for Steve, we can do it today since there's only two of us, 979-693-1150. You can just text the hotline. Hannah will read it to us at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Does it, I don't know how I want to phrase this, do you feel that Tennessee's ability to, like, they haven't been sacked a bunch, right? 6 for the whole season.
Yeah.
All right. They release the ball quickly. The fact that they throw shorter routes, does that maybe play better for A&M? I know Miami did shorter routes, and then they just didn't tackle. I feel like they figured out the tackling part.
Yeah.
Or does it hurt A&M in that instance?
Well, I think it can be both. I mean, one, it's going to be hard to get pressure on a quarterback if they're getting the ball out of their hands that quick. Now, do we do a good job tackling on the catch? Mm-hmm. You know, are we not giving yards after catch? That's what's going to be the big thing when you play an offense that throws the ball, throws the short game, which we should do more of sometimes, especially against a front that's pressuring us. But it also can be frustrating for the defensive line, because now we're used to playing in those 3rd and 10, 3rd and long situations, because we're getting so many tackles for loss, getting a sack, putting the offenses in a tough spot. Now you're forced in more of these 2nd and 5s, 3rd and 2s, different scenarios that they hadn't been in. Now they're really good at those too. Let's be honest. If they want to get after the run on 3rd and 1, I mean, they can stop. They can stop offensive lines and get pushed. So it'll be interesting to see. I would rather play against something like that, the bend but don't break, as opposed to 30, 40, 50-yard bombs down the field. That's probably more frustrating. So
look, I know the narrative was Bama's not what they usually are, and they still may go 11-1. I know that narrative, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way A&M played last week, do they beat other teams in the SEC West? Do they beat Tennessee? Do they beat, like, the way they played last week? Is that enough?
I think it is enough the way they played. They just can't have the bad things go wrong, right? They just got to have a couple breaks. I mean, I can think of like 10 breaks that went Alabama's way, and I can't even think of maybe a couple that went our way.
Well, here's a couple that did go our way though. False starts.
Yeah. Well, that was pretty amazing.
Right.
That was, and that stadium was loud. Holy cow, that was loud.
The false starts, the turnovers. A&M won that as well. And really, I think, like, it was weird. Like, why did he throw the ball at the end of the game? Like, there was like an outside hope. But then you talk about the things that went against A&M.
Mm-hmm.
They only gave up 4 first downs on. They were 4 of 12 on 3rd down conversions.
Yeah.
But 3 of those 4 were back breakers.
Backbreakers. Yeah, I mean that is just such a killer. I mean, when you get a team into that 3rd and 14, 3rd and 9, and you give up touchdowns on those long 3rd downs, it's just, you want to pull your hair out. It's like, I mean, we just one more play, and we just, we have so much momentum, and yet they made the plays, and that's where you got to give Alabama credit. We can talk about it whatever you want, but at the end of the day, Alabama made those plays.
Yeah, they did.
We didn't just give them the game. I mean, they went out there and made plays to win it. Even the play at the last play where a guy tips it up off the ground. It's like, dude, when have you ever seen that happen?
Right.
He made it in the most critical time possible, or else we're getting the ball back with like 1:20 left. We got a shot. We get a chance there. But, yeah, wasn't our day, man.
The final countdown, Steve McKinney in studio, Billy traveling, Seth doing his thing. So we're going to hold down. We actually talked a lot of football in that segment.
Probably more than we've talked all year on Friday.
It was fun. So if there's questions for Steve, you can do it on the hotline 979-693-1150. I have a question for you that I want to ask, but let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Hannah is there. Hannah, you got something for Steve?
Yeah, Dave and Edmund is asking Steve, back when you were a young buck playing for A&M, did you consider the fans while you were playing? Did you think about that after a loss, or were they not even a thought in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I think you do think about them. I mean, obviously, everybody takes pride in doing a good job and winning for the fans. I mean, you know, I remember the first time I ever ran out on the Kyle field and how amazing that felt, you know, all the fans yelling and the towels waving, and, you know, it's just like a core memory for me growing up. So, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you think about the fans. I mean, once the game starts, you're blocking it out.
Right.
Now, I can tell you, you know, sitting on the sidelines, you know, a big third down or a big fourth down, and the crowd's like super loud. I mean, you take notice to that if on the sideline. You're thinking about, you're like, God, there's no way they can hear out there because I can't hear the person next to me. There's no way they can hear. So, yeah, I mean, dude, we have the best fans here in the world, bar none. And I've played in a lot of different stadiums, a lot of, you know, NFL, college, and there's no fans better than A&M fans, especially when it's a big game and a third down. And I mean, it's pretty incredible. And Saturday was unbelievable. Holy cow. I mean, I remember that game, and then the previous Bama game at home.
Just amazing.
I got like a headache. Like my head was starting to hurt.
Like even after?
No, like during the game, because it was so loud, like, you know, just the buzzing and I was like, dude, I'm about to have to take some migraine medicine. Like seriously, I was struggling, and I was going like that. If it's so loud that I'm getting a migraine, like, you know, that's loud.
I know you're all in on A&M. Are you kind of in on your former team, the Texans? Like, do you pay now that CJ Stroud's there and they feel like they figured it out? They
look pretty solid. I mean, they look a lot better than I thought they'd look.
Yeah.
Put it that way. After the first couple games, I was kind of like, oh my goodness, this is going to be a rough year. And then CJ just kind of turned it on and started looking good, and the team's starting to rally around him. And you can see they got something going on. I'm not saying they'll be a playoff team or anything this year, but you can tell they got something to build on. And a team that could be pretty good in the future.
You and D'Amico didn't play together, did you?
We did, yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay.
We played together for a couple years. I was still with the Texans when he came in. D'Amico first of all, he's a great guy.
Great guy.
Super nice guy, you know, just a solid dude, and hard worker, good player, very smart. Yeah, I'm excited for him to be the head coach. It's still kind of weird.
Yeah.
You know, because I was
still looks like he can play.
Yeah. I mean, he looks like he's about 28 years old, you know, out there. But he's a heck of a dude, and I think he'll be a heck of a good coach, you know. I love watching him and Dan and all these guys that I've played with and know. It's crazy when I look around the NFL and how many head football coaches that I know and, you know, either played with or played with as they were coaching, or even interns.
Yeah.
I remember Mike McDaniel at the Texans. He was literally the guy that came and got me out of the locker room when I got cut in my 10th year.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And I didn't even know who he was. I was just like, oh my God, you know. I was like, is this really happening?
When he came, you knew what was
up?
Yeah,
yeah. Because it was right after I'd torn my ACL. And
what year was that?
It was 2007, after the 7th season.
Okay. So Gary was coach.
Yeah, Gary was still the coach, and so and I didn't even realize that. You know what's so funny is that I'm sitting there watching the Dolphins like earlier this year, and I see an old picture of him because he looks totally different than he looked at the Texans. Google him.
Okay.
Google Mike McDaniel when he was at the Texans versus him now.
Yeah.
And you'll see how I was like, I didn't even know that was him. Like, I didn't even know the dude's name, and I'm like, that's the dude that came and got me when I got cut. I had texted like Chester Pitts and Fred Weary.
Yeah.
You know, former teammates there. I'm like, did you guys know Mike McDaniel was there? He's like, yeah, Steve, we knew that.
That's funny.
I'm like, man, I must not have been paying attention. I had no clue.
What is in your opinion, the most important position group this weekend?
I mean, it's got to be the offensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got to be able to protect up front and run the football. We got to get something going in the run game. And it's just not been happening. I mean, what is our longest run this year? You know, like 12 yards?
I think we had a third. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, no, what's his name? Daniels had a long run.
Oh, yeah, he had
the
was it 70, 80 yards?
Yeah, he had that one longer. But outside of that, I mean, we're not getting a lot in the run game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of frustrating. I know, you know, we lost A-Chain, which was a big loss, right?
Look what he's doing there.
I mean, you see how he's tearing up the NFL. Imagine if we were able to collect enough NIL money to keep him here. Because I guarantee you, we could have paid him more than he's making as a third rounder.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we got to get better as a program in keeping guys like that. Don't let guys like that go to the NFL draft and get a $800,000 signing bonus. Pay him $1 million to stay here, and he would be tearing it up. Because a guy like Heisman-esque, because guys like him can make an offensive line that's still trying to figure things out look really good. Where we're not even talking about the offensive line or the run game. And it's the same offensive lineman.
Well, think about it. The LSU game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we got to get something going in the run game. So hopefully that can start this week. It would be nice because I know a lot of times, when you go on the road, you kind of go in with a different type of mindset sometimes than even when you're playing at home.
Yeah.
Like, that if you go in there and run the football and get first down, like it shuts the crowd out. Like, nothing's more frustrating when the visiting team is just clicking off first downs, right? And you never get to third down. If you're hitting good on first and second down where you're only getting maybe one third down a whole series, that takes the crowd completely out of it.
To bring it back to something you said earlier, there's so much running on first down. I thought this year we would see some down the field passing on first down just to catch them off guard.
Yeah.
I mean, have we seen that? Maybe in game one. I don't remember.
No, we just these last few games, we've just gotten so conservative, in my opinion. I think about I don't know the numbers statistically, but I know I'm sitting up there with Seth and we're watching the game Saturday, and the number of times it's 2nd and 1, 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3, and all we do is just run the ball. And I'm going, just take a shot,
right?
Like a 2nd and 1, 2nd and 2, just once take a shot. Every time we would let's get the first down and just start it over. Mm-hmm. To me, that's playing conservative. It's not being aggressive. If you want to beat a team like Bama, you're going to have to take some shots. You got to take some chances. You got to give your studs a chance to go make a play.
Yes.
We didn't put one ball up in the air down the field and let guys go up and try to get it.
Well, the one that I remember was underthrown.
Yeah.
Anias had a touchdown.
Yeah, right? So, but that's the whole game.
Yeah. The
whole freaking game. You got that one play that was wide open for a touchdown.
And Moose can do it. Evan can do it. Anias can do it.
I'm just saying, dude, stop with the 2nd and 1 running. You want to run on 3rd and 1? That's fine. I support that. But 2nd and 1, 2nd and 2, throw the ball down the field,
Well, if there's anything that makes me at least optimistic is, again, I know Tennessee's got really good numbers. They got 22 sacks. Their defense is playing well. But they haven't played anybody that A&M has played, and they haven't played the caliber of team that Alabama is. So there is that.
Yeah. We've definitely seen better competition than we're going to see this weekend.
Yep.
At this point.
All right, let's hit a break here. We'll come back. OB will join us. We'll do our pick 6. Final countdown. Steve McKinney with us. Billy and Seth are on assignment. That's what we're going to say. Olin Buchanan joining us. Hello, OB.
Hello.
The legend.
Seth, I can only imagine what assignment Seth has.
Oh, yeah. I think he's playing in like some club championship at the golf club or something.
Must be nice.
It must be. Those
McKinney brothers live charmed lives.
Don't say brothers because it's just one brother apparently.
Well, we did not do pick 6 earlier in the show with OB, so he's here to join us to do it. By the way, Steve McKinney dominated last week. By dominated, he went 4-2. Olin right behind him at 3-3.
Man, that's a good week for me this year. 3-3.
I tell you, I never thought I'd see a 4-2 after the way I started.
Well, 2-4 was me in 3rd place, and that's been probably my best week. I've been terrible.
A lot of 1-5s this year.
Yeah, a lot.
It's a weird year.
I feel like I should go with not my gut, but we're going to start things off here with Week 7's pick 6. Number 1 game for us. Number 8 Oregon 5-0 at number 7 Washington 5-0. 2:30 Alaska Airlines Field at Husky Stadium. ABC broadcast. Washington favored by 3.5. OB.
I'm going to take Oregon.
Okay.
And I'm kind of amazed that Alaska Airlines is the name of the stadium in Washington.
Caught me off guard when I read that,
Yeah. But, I think Washington, they're obviously good. But I think, what did they beat Arizona by like a touchdown?
Yeah.
The team that lost to Mississippi State. So I think Oregon plays some defense, so I'll take Oregon.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Washington.
Okay.
I think Michael Penix Jr. is
the real deal.
I think he's the real deal. I think this could be his Heisman moment, coming out party for the nation. I don't think very many people have seen him play this year.
I saw him play at Indiana, and if you can get Indiana into a bowl game, you're good.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty good there, and so I think he's kind of playing out of his mind right now. So, and I know Oregon does play good defense, but at home, that crowd, I'm feeling Washington's going to make a statement.
Did you know that the Pacific Northwest, and I don't mean this geographically, I mean this like in snoodily. Washington looks down their nose at Oregon. They think they think Oregon's like
crappy state.
What's the riffraff?
The riffraff.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
I don't disagree with them.
Second game, Auburn. They're 0-2 in SEC play at number 22 LSU. May have saved their season last week. 4-2, 3-1 in the SEC. 6 o'clock, Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge. ESPN broadcast. LSU favored by 10.5.
Oof, man, this is an interesting one because one of these teams is going to bounce back. All right, Missouri. Wait, who were Auburn? Auburn lost. LSU barely won. Does Auburn bounce back?
Can Auburn score more than 10 points? Even on LSU's defense. They don't pass.
No, that's a great question. Yeah, let me have LSU at home.
Yeah, I'm taking LSU. I just don't think Auburn can score with them.
This game's typically tight, by the way.
Yeah, great series.
Great series. I got to go LSU as well. Missouri, bounce back game for them potentially at number 24 Kentucky. Bounce back game for them who got destroyed there in Athens.
This is the one I was thinking of. This was the bounce back game.
This is the one?
Which one of these is going to bounce back? Missouri was looking good. So was Kentucky. They both just kind of took it on the chin Saturday. Missouri, are they going to be the one that bounce back, or is Kentucky going to get their run game going again?
3.5 spread. Kentucky's favored in that one. So what do you think?
I'm gonna go Kentucky. They're at home.
Yep.
I think Kentucky bounces back. They looked really good their last time at home, so I'm gonna go with Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm taking Kentucky too for two reasons. They're at home, and I have to say that defensively, Mark Stoops will typically come up with a pretty good plan, and you got to stop Missouri's pass defense, or at least slow it down. And Stoops, I think, can do that.
Yeah.
I am also going Kentucky. I think for that reason alone. And, they get them at home. We go to the next one, and I'm torn on this one, guys. Number 25, Miami, 4-1, 0-1 in the ACC versus number 12, North Carolina, 5-0, 6:30 there at North Carolina. ABC broadcast. The Heels are favored by 4.5.
At North Carolina?
At North Carolina.
Yeah, to me, this is a tricky one. Miami, they got a pretty good football team. Now, the way they lost last week was like criminal.
Well, Tyler Van Dyke did not play well.
He did not, but the coaching was
atrocious.
Complete garbage. And Cristobal I don't know what he should do, but he shouldn't sleep.
He should kneel. That's what he should do.
Yeah, he should absolutely.
I couldn't believe that. I still am like shocked. Like if Jimbo or somebody did that here, it would be unforgivable. Like I'd jump off board on that. That's too much. There.
As this going on, we all knew what could happen.
Yeah.
And even then, I was like, they're not going to score, and they scored.
I couldn't believe it. Give me North Carolina. It's at home. It's 4.5. Admittedly, I don't know a lot about North Carolina, but
they got Drake May.
I know they got Drake May, and he seems to be pretty highly rated. So let's go Carolina.
Even though Billy Lucci likes to rag on me about repeating myself, I'm going to repeat myself again.
Okay.
And I'm going to say, if you can't take a knee, you can't take the heels.
Yeah.
I'm going Miami. Just more because
you're
Cuban. I got Cuban ties.
Cuban ties. Yeah.
No, I think this is. I'm hoping the team that played A&M shows up in this game against North Carolina. I know it's harder on the road. I know North Carolina is good, but I maybe that loss kind of jolted them. It could go one of two ways, and I'm going to say they're going to take this one.
It would be helpful for us.
It would be. It would be. All right, the fifth game on the list is number 10 USC, 6-0, 4-0 in the Pac-12 at number 21 Notre Dame, 5-2, 6:30 broadcast on NBC Notre Dame Stadium, and the Irish are favored by 2.5.
Are they playing Southern California or South Carolina?
Southern California.
How is Notre Dame favored by 2.5? Does Vegas know something I don't know?
Well, this is why, because USC gives up a lot of points to everybody.
Their defense is
But Notre Dame doesn't score a lot of points on anybody. So
they'll score on USC.
You think?
Yeah, I do.
This is really mind-boggling to me because I would think USC would roll Notre Dame because the Notre Dame team I've watched doesn't look like world beaters at all. But I hadn't watched a lot of USC either. So, oh my gosh! All right, let me get Let me get USC.
USC?
I'm going to stay with USC.
Okay. Olin?
Yeah, I'm taking the Domers on this one. Yeah, I am. I feel like I need to shower for saying that because I'm not a Notre Dame fan at all. But big, nasty offensive line. McKinney here could play on that offensive line.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I almost did.
That Notre.
That's right. You were going there first, right?
Did.
They're just a big, physical offensive line. I'm thinking they're going to be able to just run the ball right at USC and maybe shorten the game.
I think Notre Dame wins this game. USC's defense. They're going to fire Alex Grinch after this one too. That's what's going to happen.
Wow, you are making some big calls here.
Yeah, we're so good.
I'm looking forward.
Have you seen my record?
Looking forward to seeing this on Sunday.
You could be a very rich man if you would just take everything I've said this year and bet the other way.
Steve, you are in second place at 500, and I'm well under 500.
Well, this is going to be a separation here. I'm about to take a bigger lead. We're going to come together on that.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
All right, the last game, Texas A&M. 4-2 on the season at Tennessee. 3.5 point spread for the Vols on that one, and that game can be seen on CBS 2:30 broadcast hour time. Steve, I'll let you take the first.
This one, I have very little faith in A&M on the road right now for obvious reasons. We're playing a good team, matches up pretty well with us. I think it's strength on strength though. I think it's our run defense against their running game. I think we'll hopefully win that battle. Defense travels, as y'all know. So offensively, to me, it's just going to be can we protect? Can we give Max enough time? And can we execute making big plays down the field? Because we can't just line up and try to run the ball and win that way. We're going to have to make some explosive plays, which we didn't do last week. But with that said, I am going to pick A&M because I think
to win or to cover?
I'm going to pick them to cover.
Okay.
I want them to win. I'm going to root for them to win. But I feel like even if they did lose, it's not going to be my more than 3. I feel like it's going to be a close game regardless.
Olin?
The definition of insanity, doing the same thing, expecting results, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to still pick A&M. I still keep looking at which team has the most talent. And I'm convinced that Texas A&M is a more talented football team if they could just get out of their own way. So I'm kind of hoping, expecting, wishing that A&M gets out of their own way and just goes out and plays a relatively clean football game. If they do that, I think they win outright.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know I'm going to get some hate mail. I hope I'm wrong. I'm picking Tennessee. Well, you got to prove it to me.
On the road, I get it.
I told you during the summer when we were doing shows, you got to prove it to before I buy it in. And Billy gave me a hard time because that's my go-to line. But it's the facts.
Okay.
My go-to line is you've got to prove it to me you can do it on the road. I got to see some real offense, and I got to see a semblance of stopping the pass. Can you do that for me? That's a lot of questions that I have against a team that hasn't played anybody. Doesn't matter. It's about A&M. It's not about the other teams usually. And A&M hasn't done that on the road yet. And unfortunately, they didn't do it last week against Alabama. So I hate to say it out loud. I think Tennessee wins.
Yeah, there's a good chance that could happen, David.
There is.
Yeah.
Look, I hope I go 0-6 if that means A&M wins, right? Because the whole tone of the talk show next week will be doom and gloom or here we go.
Yeah.
We're back.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I should have used a different
Let's
line.
come up with some other line than we're back.
Yeah, I know. I noticed
somebody else kind of used that and it didn't work out too well.
I'm sorry. I felt it as of midway through the sentence.
And back from what?
Yeah.
By the way,
we're back to being talked about again.
Yeah.
In a good way for a week. And then we got the bye week, so there's that. All right, that is our pick 6. OB, do you want to stick around for a little freak of the week and sleeper of the week? You've never done it before.
Do I have to sing it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're going to be part of it. You have to sing.
Sure, I will.
All right, we'll do that when we come back. Wait, you got to wait.
I'm practicing.
Practice. It is now time for the freak of the week.
It's the freak of the week.
That's pretty good, Obi.
Pretty good, Obi.
Yeah, pretty good.
I've been practicing.
Pretty
Not
good.
Too shabby.
All right, so Steve, I'll let you start it off. Who's going to be the freak of this week?
Oh, my goodness. Let me go. Who I want to be the freak of the week is Le'Veon Moss.
Okay.
I want to see our run game go off. I want to see Le'Veon break a few big runs. Love to see him go over 100 yards. Right?
Okay. We need that.
We do need that. I wonder what's the most he's had this year in a game.
104?
104, I believe.
Because he had 97 and then 104.
Yeah,
97 against Auburn, 104 against Arkansas.
Yep.
Okay, so we go over 100 against Tennessee, we win.
Let's do 120. Let's do that.
120.
I like that.
Okay. I'm going to say Edgerrin Cooper for 2 reasons.
Every week.
Number one, he's in an incredible role right now, and he's playing at All-American level. I think we can all agree on that.
Yep.
And number 2, just because I want to use this line. Hey, we know he can hunt hogs, but can he help you cage a squirrel?
I like it. I like it. Let's go, Edge Cooper. I'm going to throw in one. I'm going to make it easy, OB. I said earlier you can bank on Evan Stewart. He's my freak of the week. He's going to have one of those Evan Stewart performances. We're like, that's the kid.
We need him.
Yep.
We need him to come back. This is too good.
And we go through this, no one says Anias. That's amazing.
Well, because you kind of expect it, right? So it's expected.
Plus, I might have said Anias, but I wanted to use that squirrel line.
Yeah.
He's definitely been a freak every week.
Sleeper of the Week, presented by The Sleep Station. Go see Jared McLeod and ask about the Tempur-Pedic and Purple mattress in the Specs parking lot of Texas and Harvey and in front of the Lowe's at William D. Fitch on Highway 6. Website, thesleepstation.com. Steve, you go first again.
Wow. I'm going to go with somebody who I think is really would really be a sleeper if he shows up this week, DeBerry.
Josh DeBerry.
Because after last week's performance, I got a feeling he's had a pretty tough week of practice.
OB wants this joke to land.
Yeah, he's really
I'm giving the whole
killing me
background.
over here.
I'm
sleeping.
But, I think after last week, he's probably heard it every day. People texting him on social media, radio jockeys like yourself, talking bad about him, how he gave up all these yards. My guess is that he shows up Saturday night with a little different mentality and shuts down whoever he's going against. We don't see him get burnt one time Saturday.
Oh, I like it.
I like it.
I hope you're right. I'm going to say in kind of the same area, except I'm going with Bryce Anderson because they do like to get the ball out quick, right? So guys closer to the line of scrimmage might be more apt to make a big play, might jump a route and turn to a pick six. That guy, Bryce Anderson.
Bryce Anderson it is. I'm going Noah Thomas. I've done 2 wide receivers. It's been a minute since we've had a Noah sighting.
Well, since New Mexico, actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
He had a touchdown the next week, but not that kind of performance.
Right, where he just was dominant.
Steve?
11 for 118 on the season.
Yeah, we need that in a game.
That was pretty much all against New Mexico, I'm guessing.
Yep. All right, that's going to do it for TexAgs. Steve, thanks so much, buddy.
Yeah, man, enjoyed it.
Appreciate you.
See y'all next week.
Olin, thanks for coming in.
Oh, thanks for letting me be a part of this grand show.
Yeah, well, I like your singing. It's Freak of the Week.
Better than
good.
Seth's.